Good morning. Welcome back to the Enneagram Mom Interview series. I'm Whitney Ellison with Wellison Enterprises. We have an awesome interview today, Tasha Pinelo, 2 Wing 3. But before we get started, let me remind you the Enneagram is a wonderful tool for developing self-awareness and empathy. And our mission is to amplify moms' voices by telling our stories, honoring our differences, and offering useful tips from the mom's specific Enneagram strengths that will help all moms and parents in general. So with that being said, today I would like to thank our sponsor, Ruya Coffee. Ruya Coffee, here it is right here. As you can see, I've already tapped into it. It's got this great little bag where you can open it, you can open and close and reseal it. So excellent packaging. Ruya Coffee is Turkish coffee, and the mission is to change the narrative of immigrants everywhere, immigrants in America. And Ruya means dream in Turkish, and it's started to honor founder Melis Aydogan. Let me try this again. It was founded to honor founder Melis Aydogan's parents who came to this country to live the American dream. Melis, I'm so sorry that I read that wrong. In any event, this coffee is amazing. It has great flavor. It's dark, it's bold, and it comes with a lot of love from the Turkish experience. So stay tuned at the end. Melissa has generously offered a discount code for those of you watching to head to her website and purchase some coffee off of her website. So today, again, our guest is Tasha Pinelo. Tasha, I see you on here. You're going to have to select to join the conversation. So if you could hit that button. Tasha, as I said before, is a 2 Wing 3. She's the mother of 3. She's from Fort Thomas, Kentucky, which is also where I live. And it looks like she has requested to join. So we are good to go. Hi. Good
Hi.
morning. How are you?
Good. I'm wishing I had picked up a tripod from my phone, so I hope it's not like too unsteady. I'm gonna try to be still.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So, thanks for joining this morning. And I think I had too much Ruya coffee because I completely made the introduction a little crazy. And I also think that's because, hi, Catherine. Catherine's watching, and she's a pro, your best friend who has been on the news for years. So I got a little nervous. So anyway, I'm feeling kind of like a goob this morning. How are you doing this morning?
Great. I have a little case of the Mondays, but good. It always feels like it's hard to get going at the start of the week. So
Yeah, especially with small children. So let's start with telling me about you. And I know quite a bit about you. So let's tell our audience about you, who you are and what you're up to these days.
Tasha Pinelo. I am a photographer. I was a television news producer for way too long, and I do freelance media consulting also.
Nice. And so do you feel like, well, wait, hang on. Let's go back. So yes, to all of that. And also you have a 6-year-old boy and twins that are getting ready to turn 1. Details.
I can't forget. I can't believe I forgot to mention them. They're the reason why I'm so tired. Yes, 6-year-old son and boy-girl twins who will be 1 October 15th. I was just talking to Catherine this morning, and she's like, "I can't believe they're going to be 1." And I say, "I can't." I mean, they chewed out of my body. I can't believe they're going to be 1.
I know the feeling.
Yeah,
It goes by really fast, but then I don't really remember anything. So it's weird how that works.
I'll be glad when I don't remember. It happened with our 6-year-old. The memory starts to fade, but with the twins, it feels like smelling salts, like it's constantly
pretty
there.
fresh. I think mine is just like super sleep deprivation based. So it's like sometimes my 2 daughters have the same name now.
they just both kind of respond because one's Lee and one's Eve. And so that E sound just gets both of their
Mm-hmm.
attention. And I kind of just roll the dice, whichever one I want to, say, it just comes out. So do you feel like these activities speak to your Enneagram archetype 3, wing 2? Why or why not?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sure. So with regard to your work, your day-to-day, and then even with the parenting, do you feel like these activities speak to your Enneagram archetype 3, wing 2? I mean, 2, wing 3, sleep deprivation. What?
It's breaking up, but I think did you ask me about my profession as it relates to my Enneagram number in the wing?
Yes. Well, and just your day-to-day activities. Are you having a hard time hearing me? We can jump back on if we need to.
Yeah.
Is the reception okay?
Yeah, it was for some reason when you asked that question, it went out, like it got,
Okay.
but my day-to-day activities and what I do, definitely, I feel being a 2, connections are very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
One-on-one connections, feeling like, we're in sync with each other. That's how it was when I was a producer in television. Your anchors become like part of you, and sometimes that can be unhealthy because you're very involved in each other's lives, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's great. That's why how Catherine became my best friend, is that I was her producer for a long time, and the shows work best when you're in sync, when you don't have to say something, when the person just knows what you like and what you don't like and how to script. And in photography, it's very similar in that I need to anticipate the sessions that work best are the ones where you just feel like you're in a groove with a family or a business owner. And then with parenting, right now the struggle is feeling like I'm getting one-on-one time with each child.
Sure.
So
Well, so with that being said, there was something that stuck out to me that I want to follow up on. So, when you were in the production field, you said your shows work best when you're in sync. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I captured that. So one thing that I want to say about Enneagram 2s that I'd love for you to kind of dig a little deeper into explaining is the idea that 2s are very likely one of the most, if not the most empathetic of the Enneagram, and often very intuitive about other people's feelings and emotions. And so I feel like, you're saying that innate ability to naturally feel what needs to happen next was a tool that you were able to use in the news when you were a producer. Is that accurate?
yeah, that's very accurate. I feel very deeply about things, and I've actually had to, in my 20s, I would say it was more unchecked. Now I feel like I've got a handle on it, but I feel very deeply about certain issues. And I got into news because I always felt that there were people who had stories. Everyone has a story, and I wanted to be part of the team that told that was honest and truthful and gave everyone a voice. And I remember I knew I was going to go into news when I was a kid. My brother and sister, who are also twins, were in the military, and my parents watched Peter Jennings every single night. And that was almost like a lifeline
Mm-hmm.
to know, my brother's in Germany, my sister was in Turkey, and to know what was happening. And the way that they relied on that really left a mark on me. And I wanted to be helpful in that way. So yeah, definitely being a 2 has led me for a little bit. Before I went into news, I thought I wanted to go into public policy work. So I lived
Mm-hmm.
in DC for a little bit, and that was not for me. And I came back and I
Intense.
worked in a newspaper, and then I got a job in television. And yeah, I feel like being a 2 has led me. I did the Strength Fighter. Empathy is my number one thing with
That's
the
perfect.
fighter stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, before we move forward, I want to do a quick check. Is your reception okay with me? And
Yeah, it's
audience, are you
actually
are you
improved.
getting good reception? If
Mm-hmm.
somebody could just comment thumbs up, if you're getting good reception, that would be great. Just want to make sure we're good on that. So the production and being in the media also really speaks to that three wing, I would say, right? Because of the performer and the achiever.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, you've now shifted out of that career and into photography. So thank you, Kyla, for the thumbs up. So I'm wondering, when you shift to the career of photography, photography is an art, and it's also very specific. Is there still a level of that three wing coming into play, and also is there a level of your one wing coming into play at all with that as well? Do you see any of a one wing here too?
Um, I definitely see the three wing, because I think a lot of people think, photography is I show up and I snap a picture and that's the end of it. But there's so much on the back end that you have to be driven, or it's not going to happen. The market is saturated. But I always say it might be saturated, but there's only one you. There's only
Yeah,
one of you.
that's right.
But you have to be self-motivated. You've got to get your post up. People think, oh, you're just throwing up on Instagram. There's been days where the Instagram posts are so long, I have to like get in my car just so I can think them through. If you're
Mm-hmm.
going to blogging, you're worried about your SEO. I get so many emails that you have to come up with a system for answering emails. So definitely, if that three wing comes in handy to propel yourself forward, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yep. Yep. And really get it done. Like, just threes know how to work. So,
You know this. A lot of the people in my life are threes and eights, and they're very driven. Like, they're
mm-hmm.
very driven, and I am very big about surround yourself with the energy that's going to help you.
Yep.
And it just so happens that that's what I just surround myself with, and I see that everyone that I'm around, everyone's doing something. Everyone is working on something, and you just kind of feel subconsciously, I'm going to work on something too, and then we have something to talk about.
Yep. Absolutely. And so, okay, so you've got the two wing three, and you also have a 6-year-old and two babies.
Hmm.
So how is your personality type jiving with these stages of raising these children in this area of childhood?
Well, I definitely think the threeness helps. I also go to 8 in stress, and I try to keep that healthy. I don't want to, that's great when you're under the gun and you got to get stuff
Hmm.
done. But sometimes it can also, you get angry and frustrated. And that part is something I'm working on. Um, but as far as being a parent, with the twins, they're so little that we're still just trying to find a groove. Like, they're
Yeah.
still in our room. Like, the next step is just getting them out of our room.
Yeah.
Our 6-year-old, like everyone else, he's been home with us since March, so he
Yeah.
just in person. So we're figuring that out. He loves it. It's going great, but it has felt like this whole year has been in transition. Like,
Yeah.
we're okay for 2 weeks and something happens, and I think that's probably how most of us feel. The whole year's been, I don't know. I'm just holding on.
Yes, I've got to bring up our text exchange yesterday about the discovery that fall break is this coming weekend. We just went back to school 2 weeks ago, and fall break is happening, and both of us are like, really? Do we really need fall break just yet?
Yeah, I almost feel like he's in a groove, and I'm keeping him home, and then I have to get him back up at 6:15 in the morning, and
Yes,
I just say, let's power through. Maybe we should
that's
just bring up
right.
kids and hope someone teaches them.
Yes, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it'll be great. And my husband and I were trying to figure that one out too this week, just in terms of childcare and so forth. So your type's motivation is to be needed. To be needed is to be loved in a two's mind. And these motivations are typically developed during childhood. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about your childhood and what event helps develop that motivation, and to the extent that you're comfortable.
Yeah, I've thought about this question all weekend, and I just feel like I came into this world like this. When I started kindergarten, I remember my mom gave me a book. It was a Sesame Street book about Grover. And it was Grover's first day of school. And he was trying to make friends by giving away all his stuff. He had a kid who didn't have lunch, so he gave away his lunch. There was a kid whose crayon broke, so he gave away his crayons. And my mom said, "Don't be a Grover."
Don't
Because
be a girl.
so even at 5, I just think that I was geared that way.
Hmm.
I mean, my parents are, especially now that I'm a parent, I'm so appreciative to all the sacrifices. They moved here from Mississippi
Hmm.
as like they got married on my mom's 18th birthday, and my dad came up north by himself to find work, and then he sent for my mom, and they just really I mean, they had no friends, no family. They really struggled to make a life, and they did. So I'm always, especially now, so thankful for everything.
Hmm.
But as far as being a 2, I'm the youngest of 4, and I'm like, I think my sister, I don't know what my sister is. I shouldn't type her, but I've thought about it, and I think she's a 2 also. And I can't tie anything that how I grew up with how I am. It's like, this is just how I am.
That's really interesting. I see a comment here from Mandy, who is, I happen to know Mandy, and she's also a 2-wing 3. And she says, I used to give away my entire lunch. So she's a Grover too.
Yeah.
So, so that's interesting that you kind of were born with this innate motivation just kind of placed within you, and then it flourished based on
Yeah.
your surroundings.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
had
interesting.
big feelings as a kid. I had big feelings. I could identify other kids my age that I just felt were going through things,
Hmm.
and I didn't always act on it the best way, but I've always been wired a certain way. So, like I said, definitely in my 20s, it's just, I felt, look, thinking about this interview, I thought about how many like friendships are just big and relationships were just big, emotional,
Hmm.
this. And now it's not. Like, I crave steady, I crave like healthy dialogue, and I've cut out a lot of things that make me spike. Like, I definitely have more control over just giving too much.
That's great. And I have to say, you are one of the most level-headed, cool, and calm people I've ever known.
Oh, thank
Yes, absolutely. And so for a 2 to go to an 8 in stress, which basically means they go from being a helper or giver into the challenger boss level, and they can become more direct, focus more on anger-based behavior if they're not being
you.
self-aware. If we could talk about that for a second, what is going into stress, going into that 8 as a self-aware 2 look like
What does it look like when I move into stress?
for
Is that what you
you?
asked?
Yep. Yes. For
Oh,
you as a
very,
self-aware 2.
very barky, very
Okay.
barky, very, um, I want to get a reaction. So I'm
Hmm.
like cutting down to the white meat, like saying something that's just going to get, because if I'm talking to someone, I want you to react. I want you to
Hmm.
wake up and let's get going. And that is just no other better way than to say just barky. And maybe
Yep.
I'm going to say something
Hmm.
sharper than I would when I'm just normal talking to you. That is what I look like in stress.
Got
And
it. Got
you
it.
see the news. I mean, if you, I can't speak to. I think newsrooms have gotten a lot more HR
Hmm.
like connected. But when I was coming out of college, it was. I mean, we were just past that stage of. You could say anything you wanted to someone in a newsroom. I got a phone call. Drinking and smoking and cursing, like all that is a no-no. But when I was 21, that's how it was. So my eightness thrived.
Yes. Yes.
Unchecked eightness, unchecked eightness.
In our 20s, I don't know that anything is really checked.
Yeah.
That's when we learn how to check ourselves. Um, all right. How has the Enneagram helped you in motherhood? Because it's been about 2 or 3 years of really digging, our experience with the Enneagram, because we started learning this around the same time. Um, how has it helped you in motherhood, now that you're fully aware of your type?
Definitely, Enneagram in general has helped me with my communications. There have been times where I'm like, why does this bother me? Why am I
Hmm.
so bothered? Like, I know in my head it's something small. Like, I'm like, it's not a big deal that I say hi to someone and they don't say hi back, or
Hmm.
I feel like I'm always initiating a relationship. But now with Enneagram, I just almost know that that's how I'm wired, and that it's not a slight. Someone else may just communicate differently than I do. And
Hmm.
that's how it is with my kids. The twins are too young to know, but like with our 6-year-old, I have a sense what he is, and it's not a two. And sometimes there are things that he does. I'm like, why is he like that? But just thinking back, I don't necessarily think it's him. It might be me. It might be both of us.
Sure. Yeah, I think I can definitely relate to that too with my children who, one of them could be my type, but may also be a handful of others, and the other one's definitely not.
Yeah.
And so, being able to recognize when my response is a me thing and not a them thing, I think the Enneagrams really helped me with that, really helped me to, reflect on my motivation behind the way that I respond, even emotionally, to something. And it makes me pause for a minute
Hmm.
before, like sometimes I just want to well, as an 8, you always want to just immediately react because you're a gut triad person. But this does help me pause and think before, uh, because Lord knows, like, typically your motivations are developed at this age between, roughly 8 to 13. And so that also kind of triggers me to be careful because my children's personalities are developing. And
Hmm.
so my behavior will help mold the way that they respond to situations. So,
I think saying that Enneagram has taught me to pause is an excellent way of phrasing it. It's taught me to pause and really think about my motivators. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want to do it? Am I doing it to prove something? Sometimes twos feel like you know what's best for other people, and I don't tell. Sometimes a lot of times now I think things, but I don't put it on other people. There
mhm,
was a point where if I thought it was coming out of my mouth. But that's something that Enneagram has taught me, how to pause that.
mhm.
We're all doing things, we're doing the best we can, so maybe my
Yes.
it should just be mine.
Well, and two, is a part of the heart triad, or the emotion-based heart center. And so, during this time with parenting, work, and the pandemic going on, how are you able to manage those emotions and really center yourself in not being too reactive in that space?
Yeah, maybe it's the three in me, but I manage things by making lists and staying on track. If I have, and that doesn't, the emotion, I'm generally a happy person.
Hmm.
Um, so this year with everything that's happened, there's been some things with anxiety, but just
Yeah.
generally the way I'm wired is just kind of like thankful, and we're going to get through it, and we're going to stay on task. And I feel like I'm lucky or blessed that I don't usually feel that the walls are crashing down. It's like, this is hard, but we're going to get through this, and then we'll do the next thing.
That's
It's almost
great.
like I see it as like math. Like, we're just 1 plus 1 is going to equal 2, and then
Hmm.
2 plus 2 is going to equal 4, even though it's starting to feel like 2 plus 2 equals -7. There.
There are days. Yes, and I have to say again, it goes back to doing the work and being a very self-aware too. And I think that that's really sound advice for coming from that space. So with that being said, my last question, what are some parenting secrets, tips, or tricks that you could share that could help all moms that speak to your Enneagram strengths, or parents, not just moms, but parents in general?
For me, my thing with my parenting is just finding a few minutes even each day to feel like I'm connecting with each kid.
Mm-hmm.
And with the babies, it's so easy because it's on their faces. The 6-year-olds
Right.
get more complicated in what his needs are, but it could just be, I don't know where I heard this. I mean, I think it was on our, when we had our kids in Montessori, but it was when they get home from school, those first few minutes when they get home
Mm-hmm.
from school and those minutes before they go to bed and when they wake up, how important those are. And I may not hit all three, but I try to hit one. When he gets
Mm-hmm.
home from school, if I'm on the phone, I get, and it's like a social call, I'm getting off the phone and then I'm going to give him my attention. When he comes downstairs, when he sees my face, I want it to light up. I think Toni Morrison said, when your child or any child enters a room, they need to feel welcome. And 2020, there's been so stressed. Sometimes it's easy for them to enter the room and they catch us in like, but I work to, when he comes in, I want him to know that I'm happy to see him.
I love that. That's great advice. And that's very sound to advice, that connection, that giving of yourself and your energy to make sure your children know that they're loved. Thank you for that. That's wonderful. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning.
Thank you for
And
having.
absolutely. And I'm really excited because we did a branding photo session last week, and Tasha, you're so incredibly talented, and I cannot wait to see these pictures. So if you're watching this, stay tuned and follow Tasha on her handle. What is it? Tasha Pinelo Photo?
Mm-hmm.
Tasha Pinelo Photo, to check out her photography. She's incredibly talented. You may even see a little sneak peek of me and the baby Lee on there from last week. And I will talk to you soon, Tasha. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll text. We'll probably be texting in the next 3 minutes.
Oh, awesome. Can't wait. All right. Thanks, Tasha. See
Bye.
ya. Bye. Well, thank you so much for joining this session today. And again, I want to thank Tasha and apologize for the rocky start there with the reception and me being a little discombobulated. With that being said, Ruya Coffee, thank you so much for your sponsorship. If you'd like to purchase Ruya Coffee, they have this dark blend. They've also just come out with a light and medium blend. So head to their website, ruyacoffee.com, and you can get a 20% discount code by entering the code Ellison, Ellison. That happens to be my last name. Thank you to Melissa for that discount. And remember, Ruya's mission is to change the narrative of immigration in America. With that being said, Wednesday, we have our special guest, Leela Wendell, 9 a.m. She is an 8-wing 9. I cannot wait to have her on. We're going to have a great conversation. Always love talking to fellow 8s. And then also a reminder, I have an Enneagram workshop virtual coming up on October 22nd. If you enter the code EARLYBIRD and you're one of the first 5 people to snag a seat, you will get $5 off. My link for that workshop is in my bio. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we will see you again on Wednesday. Thanks. Bye-bye.